Talk Radio royal correspondent Rupert Bell said the Queen will not strip Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, of their titles. He explained how the titles were a wedding present from the Queen and it was very unlikely they would be taken from the California-based couple. Discussion about the pair's titles come as Prince Harry made more claims of his unhappy childhood on a podcast last week. The Duke suggested genetic pain and suffering is at the heart of his and his father's upbringing. Rupert Bell was asked by Talk Radio host Julia Hartley-Brewer if he thought the Duke and Duchess of Sussex would have their titles stripped. He replied, "Personally no, because the Queen gave them as a wedding present and I think she would find that very hard to take that away from them, given the circumstances these titles were given. Remember there are 3 different titles that they have, not on the Duke and Duchess of Sussex." He explained, "I see that as a position of last resort and the Queen has to agree to it." The royal correspondent added that, according to the Constitution, a vote in Parliament would likely have to take place for the California-based couple to have their titles stripped from them. But he added that it is very unlikely that the Queen would strip the pair of their titles, which they have been accused of holding on to for commercial purposes following multi-million-pound deals struck with Spotify and Netflix. Bell added, "What I think it does reflect is the underlying, total frustration with Harry and Meghan, particularly with the podcast comments about the family. I think a lot of people within the firm feel totally frustrated knowing they can't say anything yet Harry seems to be going on a continual rant against his family. It's a PR assault on the people they, Harry and Meghan, are working for." The discussion over stripping the royal couple of their titles comes as the Duke of Sussex made more comments about his upbringing during a discussion with Armchair Experts, a US-based podcast, last week. The Duke took aim at his father Prince Charles' parenting skills when he was a young boy and suggested the Queen and Prince Philip could have been responsible for the genetic pain and suffering they passed on to Charles. Harry said, "I don't think we should be pointing the finger or blaming anybody, but certainly when it comes to parenting, if I've experienced some form of pain or suffering because of the pain or suffering that perhaps my father or my parents had suffered, I'm going to make sure I break that cycle so that I don't pass it on, basically." The Duke added, "It's a lot of genetic pain and suffering that gets passed on anyway, so we as parents should be doing the most we can to try and say, you know what, that happened to me, I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen to you." The Duke of Sussex went on to tell the Armchair Expert podcast, "I never saw it, I never knew about it, and then suddenly I started to piece it together and go okay, so this is where he went to school, this is what happened, I know this about his life." Prince Harry added, "I also know that is connected to his Prince Charles' parents, so that means HES treated me the way he was treated, so how can I change that for my own kids?" Harry and Meghan stepped down as senior members of the royal family last year. Last month Meghan announced the release of her new picture book, The Bench, which tells the stories of the connection between a father and a son.